Hi, RWBY fan! I'm doing something just a little bit different today, and it's not really my idea. You see, I'm doing a vlog because I had some fairly major technical problems happen. You see, there was kind of a power outage, and for some reason my computer is now kind of bricked. So until I can get it fixed, I guess I'm going to be doing videos in these sort of vlog formats. Although I will have a full, stupid private review of the new episode of RWBY as soon as I can get my computer back. So anyway, this is my fairly spoiler-heavy opinion about RWBY End of the Beginning. Alright, so the episode starts off with a fairly cool Dragon Ball-esque fight between Cinder and Ozpin. And honestly, I found it a little bit maybe disappointing. Sure, there's a lot of energy effects and attacks and fireballs and explosions, but it's really short, and I don't like the way it ends in this kind of inconclusive manner. We don't really see what happens to Oz. We know that only Cinder's the one who walks out of the basement of Beacon Tower, or wherever the hell they were fighting at is. So we don't know what happens to Ozpin, and we know that he's missing. So that's just, I found that a little disconcerting, and I didn't really care for that. So anyway, sorry, let me backtrack. So, RWBY makes it to the kind of evac point that they've set up at Beacon Academy, and she meets up with Blake, Yang, Team Juniper, well, half of it, and Sun's kind of standing there, and what I kind of liked, and it was an interesting character moment for him, is that he's kind of the voice of reason in that whole exchange. It's like, wow, Sun, way to be, the man here. I actually thought that was something interesting I haven't really seen from him before. Alright, so back in the ruins of the school, Pyrrha and Jean basically see Cinder and this big grim dragon heading for the communications tower that they made a big deal about in that World of Remnant video. So basically, congratulations, the Pyrrha-Jean ship is confirmed. And then it hits an iceberg, but we'll get to that in a second. So, Pyrrha basically says goodbye to Jean, and she pulls a card and shoves him in a locker and sends him back to the city where it's safe-ish. And there is a really nice emotional moment when Jean calls Weiss and RWBY and tells them that Pyrrha is in danger. And, he's very distressed. And that was a nice character moment for him. So, good job. Alright, the biggest moment of the episode is this battle between Cinder and Pyrrha. And it's pretty good. I don't know if it's really the best that RWBY's kind of shown us. But Pyrrha does strut her stuff well. And I would hope so, because she dies at the end of this. Just straight up dead. And, I have to give them props for that. I was honestly surprised that they would kill off one of their main characters. Especially in the fashion that they did. Also, there was a very nice Achilles reference, because Pyrrha gets shot in the heel with an arrow. I was so sure that RWBY was going to get there just in time, deflect the arrow, but no. Another big surprise about the episode was RWBY, when she sees Pyrrha die, she gets this sudden burst of power. It looks similar to the Maiden powers, and it's also the first time I've ever seen Cinder legitimately surprised by something. So anyway, the whole scene goes white, and somehow RWBY paralyzes or freezes the big dragon monster. So after Ruby's had a chance to recover, gets to, say hi to Dad, who I'll talk about in just a second, basically Crow shows up and explains kind of what happened. So apparently, people with silver eyes, like Ruby, have super awesome Destiny Grim fighting powers. This doesn't seem to be the same thing as the Maiden powers, and, well, really, there's always the possibility of something new. But yeah, it was interesting. I would have liked to have gotten a more definitive look at what exactly Ruby did. Whether it was just this big flash, whether she went all really early Dragon Ball Z Gohan on the thing, or what exactly happened. Probably the best emotional moment, and it's unfortunately a very sad moment, is kind of the aftermath of that between Ruby and Yang, and Yang is understandably devastated after what happened with the battle with Adam. And clearly she's got a lot to think about, and she's kind of got a lot to deal with because, she lost an arm. You're not going to just walk that off. But there's this great part where Ruby says, "I love you" to Yang, and Yang doesn't say it back. And I was like, God. Just right here, guys. Right here. You can't see me, but right in the heart. Let's talk about Ruby and Yang's dad. So, Ty's a cool dude. I mean, he comes off as this warm, supportive guy who's just happy that his kids are not dead. And he's clearly a very cool, very caring dude, and I want to see more from him. Just awesome guy. I want to see him, punch things and do huntsman stuff. Crow's also a fairly big presence near the end of the episode. He's taking on Oz's job as kind of the good guy leader, and I think he's going to do a good job. I like Crow, and it'll be interesting to see him be, in charge of things, instead of just the snarky guy kind of off to the side. So, there's kind of an unexplained passage of time. It seems to be going from fall to winter, which is a couple of months that Ruby and Yang are kind of holed up at their house. And then Ruby kind of sets off following Crow, who's traveled to, I think it's Minstrel. And she's traveling with Jean, Nora, and Ren. And I like the fact that Team Juniper has kind of come together to support Ruby in going to chase after the people who've killed Pura. So that's a good way to keep them involved. Now, the final big event, revelation in the episode is the reveal of basically Ruby's main villain, who is this sort of grimified witch, ? Named Salem. At least I think that's her name. So anyway, she's this sort of spooky gal with the freaking... She looks like she's full dark side. If you've played KOTOR, she is like freaking balls to the wall, dark side looking. And yeah, she's like giving the whole evil speech to Ozpin, apparently. And I guess her and him have like a history. And I do like the fact that Ruby's main antagonist is a wicked witch. So I guess on the whole, there's some details I don't like about this episode, and I'm not gonna lie, this is not really a super fun episode, but I do have to give them major props for actually following through, killing a main character, and having this really somber Empire Strikes Back type ending. So It's definitely worth seeing. I highly recommend it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 because it's not perfect. There are lots of things that could be improved on, but on the whole, for a sad episode, it's well done. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm the Stupid Private. Hopefully I'll be back to being, my normal reviews as soon as possible, but until then, thanks for bearing with me. If you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel on YouTube at StupidPrivate913, or find my Facebook and DeviantArt pages for video updates and more. Thanks.